everybody, it's Ken McElroy. I'm here with Danielle.
Hello.
And we're here with Alyssa Wick. Well, welcome.
Hey, everyone. This is wonderful to be here.
Yeah, it's great. So we actually wanted you on because I bought 2 houses from you. And, we've had a great experience because I have, obviously, you guys know, a lot of experience in the real estate sector. So does Danielle. And so when we find somebody that we really think goes that extra mile and is really, really good at her profession or his profession, there is a reason.
So she was our realtor on the last deal we just bought.
Yes, that's true. But we threw a lot at you.
Yes, it was very exciting.
So it was an interesting experience, right? So we found the house, we bought it, or we put an offer on it, and then we needed to get a roof inspection, and we needed to get the electrical looked at. Mm-hmm. And
yes.
What made like you were such a great realtor is you actually helped me coordinate all of that.
Yes, I think we called about 15 different roofers, 15 different electricians, and we just went down the list to get someone there as soon as possible because we had to see what was going on before you to feel comfortable moving forward.
Before we jump too far forward, I think what obviously everyone here knows that we all have done a lot of real estate together. You're also an investor.
Yes.
Yourself. So this is an important piece. You look at real estate both as obviously you're coordinating the sales side on the listing or with the buyers, but also you own them yourselves, right? So
yes.
So you own
So I'll tell you a little bit about that. I think it's really important to have, if you are an investor, to have a real estate agent that's also an investor so
yes.
that they know possible off-market opportunities. They know the lingo. So I couldn't really advise my clients until I actually turned my last home into an Airbnb, which is now crushing my 1,350 square foot McCormick Ranch home, crushing my Paradise Valley home in profits.
When our audience is looking for a realtor all around the country, what questions should they ask to figure out, is this the right person?
I think it's really important to have some good questions lined up. And question would be, how much experience do you have in real estate? You want someone really knowledgeable right now, just because if you find a home, the hardest part is getting your offer to the top of the page.
Yeah.
So if you have an experienced agent, they're really good with communicating with the listing agents and saying, what does your seller want? And we can draft our offer to what your seller wants. Otherwise, you're just going to see home after
really
home.
So
they wanted a quick close.
Yeah, that helped us.
Yes.
The other thing is that we had done a deal together before, and that was also all cash, quick close. And so you were able to communicate that to the seller.
You have to be flexible in this marketplace as an agent or a buyer. And if you're at work and you're a buyer, you have to trust your agent and have them go and FaceTime you because you don't want to miss a property.
Yep.
It's going to go within
in
the
a
first
day. You were a no-nonsense realtor. So you were like, here's our offer. It expires at 5 p.m.
Yeah, it was written that way. And we were very serious of, hey, this offer, it will expire. And I made it clear and also in a kind manner. I think that's another thing is you need to be just as kind to your client as you are to the listing agents. Because listing agents, they're the key. They can communicate what they're going to communicate to the sellers, and you want to be on their page. So that's another question for your agents. How long have they been in real estate? Do they have a lot of networking with other agents so that they can see your name and know that you're going to close deals?
Sometimes people get caught up in these relationships, like their own family, let's say.
It's true.
And they're like, they feel obligated. But
right. I think that you just have to be very honest with whoever, your friend, your family member, and say, hey, I'm very serious about getting a home and you can't take anything personally. And in general, people want you to be happy. So if you just say, hey, I really vibe with this person and I want this property and I just want to pick the person that fits me the best.
So now that we went over, what to look for, what are some red flags if somebody's working with a realtor where they should maybe say, maybe I should find somebody else?
Right. It's a great question. I think you have to use your instinct on anything. And I think when you meet a real estate agent, are they on time? Because if they're not on time in the beginning, that's kind of a red flag of how professional are they. How are they dressed? If they're not dressed professionally, maybe they're not taking real estate that seriously. Another red flag would be if they're pushy. So if an agent is pushing you, hey, you got to put an offer on this property. You want to take your time. This is a huge purchase. and kind of think, what do I want? If they're putting their interest over your interest, that's a huge red flag.
Guys, this is a big percentage of people, right? Where they're looking at their financial piece as opposed to your investment, right?
Yeah, it's tough because I feel for buyer's agents right now. So I can feel you can show 60 homes sometimes in this market because if your buyer's not ready to act, and you could get caught up in frustration, and that would be a tool for my realtors out there. I feel for you. Meditate, get some meditation, get your mind at ease, and always remember things are always working out for you and your client when you're on their page.
So in today's market, you have to be the right buyer. So what is the right buyer? Like what do buyers need to wrap their head around?
Yes. So for my buyers out there, I feel for you too. It's a tough market, and the people that are not good with risks, they're suffering because they want to put everything out. They're looking at comps. Always look at comps, which is very important to show the history of a property. But right now, comps aren't really justified because right when you list a home, that home is being sold. Many times, 50% I read is going over list price right now in this market. So your comp is kind of fuzzy. So you have to take risks. You have to be okay and follow your intuition. Trust and communicate. There are no stupid questions. So you want to ask all your questions because obviously the more information you have, the more easily you're going to make a decision and be comfortable with that. So don't be afraid to ask your agent, hey, what does this mean? What are my deadlines? Because if you know the deadlines, then you're going to feel more comfortable.
You tell the buyers out there to be prepared for when they find a good realtor. So, because finding somebody like that is gold. So how can the buyer be more prepared for you?
So the buyer can, obviously, you want to be a strong buyer. You want to work on your credit because if you have higher credit, you're going to get a better interest rate. You want to work on, maybe talking to lenders as well, see what you're qualified for. I work with it's a whole team. So you have a lender and you're as good as your weakest link. So the lender I work with, he offers no lender fees and he offers wholesale rates. So I used him for my last property and I have a lot of strong confidence that he'll get the job done.
Is there anything else that realtors need to be doing in this tougher market? Like I know that you did a contingency where any offer we were going to be $1,000 more.
Yes, escalation clauses are huge, and it's because you cannot know what the highest offer is going to be. So it's good to set your boundaries, put in a very strong sales price, an offer price, which usually is list price at this point or higher. And then an escalation clause is you are going to match another offer and raise them $1,000. But you need proof of that. You don't want an agent just to say, oh, we have all these offers and, so you need the proof of that offer.
And if real estate's not your game,
that's exactly right.
You really got to be careful here.
Yeah,
right.
Especially in this kind of market.
And that's, I think, a great question for when you are hiring a real estate agent. Are they full-time or part-time? Because there's a ton of agents that are Uber drivers that are, all over, and you need someone that's full-time that's going to give you their undivided attention because, as you know, things pop up and you need to be on it.
And I want to represent our home buyers out here too, because we've got a feel for our first-time home buyers, right? Because it's a very hard market to be a first-time home buyer. So if people have an FHA loan, it's hard right now, right? And so what are ways they can be competitive and have an opportunity at a deal?
Sure. So that's a great question just because, as you know, our market, unfortunately, there's a lot of negative connotations with FHA buyers. And if you take an FHA approved buyer and a conventional approved buyer, they are the same. So if they're approved for $300,000, they're both equal. They're both, conventional loans fall out just as much as FHA. But the seller thinks there's all these negative connotations that they have lower credit, so they're not going to close. No, once you're approved, you're going to close. So I think the issue is to work with an agent that has confidence with FHA and can talk to the listing agent and say, hey, this is what I want you to communicate with the seller. Yes, we have an FHA buyer that I represent, but we are just as qualified. We're going to make this seamless. We're going to reduce our inspection period. We're going to do all the things that we need to do because the seller is only going to pick an offer that's the best. whether you're FHA, conventional, or cash. So you have to rise up. You have to figure out, hey, does the seller need to find another home? If he needs to find another home, maybe they're interested in doing a lease back. And you may be an FHA buyer, but you're willing to allow the seller to lease the home back until they find another home, which moves your offer up. So there's many ways. And if you look at homes that are on the market for some time, then those are a little bit more flexible with sellers because obviously there's the days on market's a little bit more extended, or homes on the outskirts, are just a little bit more flexible for sellers.
How can people get a hold of you?
Sure. So you can either call me on my cell phone, and I
We'll
will
put that
answer.
in the link here.
Yeah, we'll put it in the link.
And
Be careful.
Yeah, right.
All right. Well, how about we put your email there too? Yeah.
Yes, so call me 602-538-4437 or email me at alyssa@alyssawick.com, or my website is clickwickclose.com.
Love that. Love
No,
that.
yep,
So we'll put that all in the show notes
Yeah.
so you guys can find a good realtor in Phoenix.
As always, Alicia, thank you.